playing a bit, being really high priority. Faker has been spamming the in solo queue, so they are going to ban that away. Senna is open, Azir is open. I feel like yesterday we didn't see any Senna. Expect it more today, potentially from these teams, but it is just going to be that first pick, Azir from T1. I don't think that's any surprise. Faker leaning on that pick, which is obviously very experienced on. And immediately KT go for the Renekton Sejuani combo. Yeah. I think prioritizing the Sejuani when you have 3 jungle bans already makes a decent amount of sense. Renekton, obviously a pick we've seen quite high priority on, does pair up well. Nice to see a champion who can actually stack the Sejuani permafrost rather than sometimes when we get like the 4-range champion. Yeah, the good old Kennen Ahri Sejuani or something like that, which would be very tragic. It does give Owner the ability to head towards the Lilia. It doesn't fill you with joy to see it alongside an Azir necessarily, but it is still very, very powerful in the jungle and can really start messing up Pureshik's day. See where Faker goes. Could be a lock-in towards the top side of the map in order to just round out that top side, save the bottom lane to try and get some sort of counter pick after that 4th does come in for KT. Or they lock away something of the priority variety. Could be an option here, but they can already see the Renekton, so you could theoretically go into that. Oh. It will just be Senna. There it is. Finally, we see this pick. We were talking about it all yesterday. It just didn't get a look in, and finally it will be locked away. Get to 3 items on the Senna, the game's just over. Caitlyn ban going to come through, so obviously still very aware the Smolder will be going in mid lane. And really it's up to KT in this situation if they want to go for the Seraphine. So this could be a bot lane Seraphine, as in like 80 carry, or it could be in the support role. We saw Ashe Seraphine played yesterday. It does feel like a bit like they want to match scaling with scaling, and also you have the powerful engage potential. So if Renekton and Sejuani go in, you can ult over the top. And it also synergizes quite well with Mom as well, if you've got Seraphine and Smolder standing in a similar position. Line them up and knock them down is the theory, as Olaf is just going to be locked in. Of course it is. That's Yasuo. I don't know where that would be going, as I assume it's Figumiushi alongside Carrier's Senna. That could be a lot of fun. We've seen them play Senna Yasuo, not the most synergy between the 2 kits, but the wind wall has a lot of value in this situation. Hang on. The Neela to come in. The thing is, you already do so much healing, and you get the amplified healing from the Neela. It's a little bit disgusting, but it does mean KT gonna look for something like the MF here. A lot of power with that bot side. The 3 ultimates of the Smolder, the Seraphine, and the MF. Insane amounts of power, but they are playing into this Senna who, you know, the healing potential, the ult potential, the shielding available is a bit absurd. I think KT, you know, they've got some strong aspects of the composition. If we get a late game, obviously the Smolder can be really powerful. But I feel like when you have this Olaf, if Zeus gets ahead in this pick and you have a Senna backing you up with this healing, it's going to be impossible to take anyone down. The Lilia as well. Yeah. And I think it might be quite hard to pin down these targets and keep them inside the MF ultimate if they're, you know, an Olaf comes here as we hop onto the Rift for game number 1 of the Telecom War. Oh man, KT fans pretty loud here today, but T1 no slouches either, as Pureshik will be able to find Owner moving towards his jungle. We'll be backing away, giving them the good old okay there, as Carrier walking in alongside them. Don't know whether this necessarily means we will have any sort of lane swap shenanigans, but Pureshik is going to take a bunch of damage. Yep, and it looks like we can see Guma moving up. Potentially wanting to go towards the top side. We'll see what they end up doing. Looks like they're not going to swap in the end. They were just trying to force Pureshik away, maybe threaten it. And actually we see Beryl moving up to try and defend this top side jungle. So a lot of just in position. There is a ward here that will spot T1. Yeah. Some information here, but they do know. Carrier comes out with a sweeper. And I think KT definitely want normal lanes here. The Senna, Neela, even though the sustain is pretty big, you're going to get poked out a fair bit with one of your champions being melee in the early lane. And this is what Olaf can just do. His level 1 on those grubs. I guess part of it may also just be avoiding...
Okay, flat, pretty powerful there against walls, even if they are just constructed by an Emperor of Shurima.
Yeah, a little bit off there from Faker, but to be honest, don't think they would have killed BDD there, even if the ult did connect. Ono doesn't have his ult, probably would have just been a flash, but still a bit unfortunate, could move some BDD.
Pyosik is going to be able to lock down the third. So there we go, they got exactly what they wanted. Looks like Ono will be able to get himself the Rift Scuttler, with their 3 grubs, though, are also going to be able to start up this dragon. And so a bit of investing for the future, you could say.
Yep, looks like a lot of objective focus from KT, really trying to get these on lock, but T1 seem not really too focused on that, just trying to secure gold where they can on the map, and won't even look to contest this Mountain Dragon at all.
And I don't mind that at all, to be honest. I think that T1 just wanting to set themselves up for a mid-game where they can still fight. And I think that that is something that they should be able to achieve with what their game plan and focus has been. That gold lead is only extended a little bit. Well, now you've got T1 moving on over to try and take these grubs. It is on full vision here of KT. As you can see that control ward in the back of the pit. Looks like they're just happy to trade it and get towards 3-3. As Beryl throws down a high note. Nice drop of the beat there. As Gumiushi's going to get healed back to full, basically, nullifying all of that effort with a Piercing Darkness, as Senna is wont to do. We can see not too many clues when it comes to exactly what the build is going to look like here for Keria, but it is likely going to be what you were talking about before. With
like the focus for KT is down towards that dragon again.
Yep. You can see KT have not done a lot of damage to structures here in this game. As Owner is going to try and put Pyosik to sleep. The prison does come down, but there's the Emperor's Divide. Mom comes through as well, but there is just nothing Pyosik can do. Encore is going to connect here onto the Lilia, but the Dawning Shadow is there in response. And Beryl and BDD just not with enough damage by the looks of things. A Q does come down, but this is a very early Smolder, the flash forward. And BDD not able to do enough to take down Faker's Azir.
The damage just isn't there yet from the Smolder, especially when there's a Senna on the other side. The healing's not really kicking in yet from Keria, but it's enough.
But the extra heal does come on through. KT's still able to get back out onto the map and take themselves an Infernal Drake, and that is Hextech Soul. Mountain Infernal Hextech. That is terrifying. The Hextech Gates now up and available as well for that extra maneuverability.
To get, you really feel good that you've kind of been rewarded for your early investment into those dragons. Beryl, though, could be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, he doesn't have flash, nor does he have heal. He has nothing. He's just dead. That is Gumiushi picking up that kill. And sometimes when you're playing these enchanted supports, you need to be a little bit careful with where you step. As far as farm is concerned, BDD doing a good job as well. But Neela being only like 2 CS behind is a little bit of a worry.
Yeah, and also part of the fact of having a Neela, Keria is 2 levels up on Beryl. Which is pretty concerning. Doesn't quite have that Helia yet, but that's a decent spike. But really, 2 items is just where this champion just starts to take over the game. So I think with the fact that T1 already have a gold lead, it's really
this one out as quickly as possible before BDD, gets up to 750 stacks or whatever number we saw yesterday with all the smolders that were coming out. But right now, Faker is going to do the I'm going to do nothing and avoid the Glacial Prison. That was really nicely done. Beryl throws a point-blank Encore, though. And I think Faker, after this one, is going to be dead. So 3 versus 1, those odds weren't great. And that is BDD grabbing himself a kill. As the bullet time does come down, that might actually save this turret. And it will do so. So Deft able to alleviate some of the pressure there. But Perfect can't stick around here in this bottom lane because Ono's making his way over. And that will be first turret blood going over to T1. Whenever you kill Faker, there is always something that his team is taking on the map.
Yep, and it was a good move from Deft to cover the mid tower, so they didn't lose that. That would have really been a big hit, but ultimately T1 still getting the first tower in this situation. Can't be too upset about that one. But still good moves from KT. I like that they're trying to make something proactive happen, looking for angles. And able
very, very healthy for T1.
We've seen this one before.
Yeah, okay, so he does have his flash now, but he's still going to get engaged on here by Pyosik. BDD going to breathe on him there as the Permafrost does come in. He avoids Mom, though, and the wall is going to stop them from being able to walk up. Rift Herald goes down in the mid lane, and Faker is just buying as much time as he possibly can. This turret is now going to get aggressive at him as Beryl is just going to flash over. That is going to be the kill picked up, but at what cost? Ladies and gentlemen, as the inner turret is going to fall, as well as the outer, and Shelly even gets to go on another walk after that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get another charge in the back of this, just using it to get to Dragon quickly.
That'll do it though.
But here's the cost. Flashbang from Beryl for him to get that kill on a Faker, and they lose this dragon. And the reason this is so dangerous is because T1 have a big lead, but the next dragon from here on out, like subsequent dragons, Baron is going to be up.
Yeah.
If you try and contest a dragon as KT and you lose the fight, you're probably losing Baron, and that might just be the game. This was the last dragon they could potentially try and pick up, but if they lose the fight but get the smite, so risky to try and contest his vision.
And he is going to once again be found. Emperor's Divide is going to go wide this time though, as KT looking for a teleport angle. BDD comes in on top of the turret is perfect. He's making his way through as well. Monk comes down, the Dawning Shadow is there, but the AoE damage here from KT is gigantic. There goes Carrier, there goes Faker. Ona was already dead, and now it's just Zeus trying to fight them off, but he knows he's only going to be able to get that one, and KT have their sights on Baron.
A massive overstep from T1 is immediately punished, and just when the game starts to feel like it's going out of KT's control, they punish T1, the AoE ultimates come in a choke point, and T1 fall and lose the Baron. When the KT going to look to capitalize on that, trying to push mid in here, and there's just not much T1 can do.
Yep, no stopping this one. They have managed to trade outer for outer so far. As you can see there, the Rebel Baron power play not exactly the largest, as the teleport is going to come through from Faker, as that Glacial Prison just barely enough ergs on it, unfortunately, for Pyosik. So Carrier is going to survive that one. This inner turret not going to be falling on this particular push. So KT still struggling to find a lot of value when it comes to this.
Interestingly, we do see Pyosik going for the Abyssal Mask. Not much magic damage on KT, so perhaps not the highest value buy there.
Let's see what they can actually utilize it for. Maybe Beryl's damage is what they're trying to boost up after he got that flash kill onto Faker. You know, maybe the next item is just going to be a death cap. You never know. I mean, we probably know that it's not going to be. As Perfect is now slinking around, looking for a flanking Olaf, as the Viking is sort of lurking in that area. Pyosik looking for that angle as well, as the Glacial Prison back up and available once again. Walking forward, does find the ulti there. The Watch Out Eep, something that Ona might need to take into account, but instead, Zeus is on the roam, and Pyosik is in a lot of trouble now. Taken down to 50%, Bowling Ball going to be soaked there by Perfect, as KT, they just want to get themselves Soul Point. The Baron has just worn off, but this is a lot of damage. I don't think that T1 are going to be able to get over towards this dragon in time, as the Bowling Ball flies in and just sails by Beryl. There is Soul Point. That is what KT got out of the Baron, and I think, honestly, that's a real good prize.
Yep, they're happy with that one. It's going to put a lot of pressure on T1 in this game, but they're trying to corral them, trying to find an angle here.
Yep, the sleep does go down. Oh! The apotheosis on the 4 is gigantic, but it is another encore from Beryl that is huge as well, but the Smolder goes down, Pyosik to follow. Zeus is going ballistic. It's a triple kill for the Viking, and now Beryl and Deft are against the world, and I don't think they like that. It's a quadra kill, and there's the penta for the Olaf top from Zeus here in game 1.
Zeus managed to farm up a big lead in this game, and he's rewarded. This is what the comp wants to do. There's no answer to this Olaf. You can't CC him, and with the center backing him up, you certainly cannot kill him. He just moves through the fight, taking out target by target. The return ult from KT managed to get some value, but it's not enough, and now T1, with the death timers coming up shortly, they won't be able to end, but they are going to do a lot of damage to KT right now. Taking that tier 2, getting some more gold, getting that inhib tower as well, and this Olaf probably just going to be able to pick up a whole...
Then just repopulate the area, and then straight back to the Baron once more. As Ward goes in there for Beryl, they spot the fact that there is a control ward there towards the bottom side of the brush. Another control ward goes in, as Pyosik is over here, so it would be a 50-50 T1. They recognize that, back away immediately. But another possible fight in a choke point could be dangerous, depending on who gets the first step.
T1
right?
have control over the dragon. They're going to be able to take this down and then move over to respond from KT. KT haven't even started the Baron yet, so there's no threat. Good moves from T1 to secure this.
Yep, very nicely done. They will be able to take that one down. Big shielding coming in.
Have a resource to kind of defend.
Well, there's the aggressive advance here. Only on to 2 here on the Apotheosis, and Gumayushi taking so much damage back. That is going to be perfect, shutting him down. He gets a huge shield as a bullet time. Point blank here from Deft. Faker almost being taken down. Ona has to go golden. Faker is out of there, and Ona is just dead. Zeus now trying to keep himself alive against Perfect and Beryl, and it is just not working even through the Sterix. And KT win another fight into a Baron.
T1 go for the desperate engage. Guma tries to force it, doesn't find the right members. And the response is immediate from KT. We don't end up seeing the value of the Olaf in that one, and the smaller is starting to take over this game. Baron going to be secured for KT, and now with this many stacks and a Hextech Soul, Owner has to steal this. There's no other way about it.
Yep, there's going to be another team fight. That is all I know, as this Dragon is going down exceptionally low. Snare not quite going to connect. That is going to be the steal from Owner, but can they keep themselves alive in the fight? BDD going too far forward. It's another apotheosis as Feral is going to go down. Owner will be taken out, though BDD is still alive in this one, but not for long. It's a double for Guma. His health bar is just yo-yoing from these heals. And Pyoshik is sent to the nether as well. It is punch for punch, blow for blow between these two teams. So this time, T1 punch back.
And Guma redeems himself for the play around mid, finds the engage that gets on the back line. The healing comes through from Carry to back him up, but now, you know, T1 denied the soul, but it doesn't matter, they're just going to end the game.
Yeah, denying the game, I think, is a good idea. Deny enemy Nexus seems to be the game plan for T1, and they are just going to march down this mid lane, take out these Nexus turrets. And man, this for game number one, this was a little bit too intense, but man, it was a banger. We'll see whether we have a few more of these in this series as T1 take out the first one.
Such a hectic game. Definitely a standout that could be prioritized here by KT if they wanted.
I think maybe just first pick center.
That's also very valid.
I really do think, okay,
this
the Renekton
is less valid.
Yeah, I think Renekton first pick really has, it's seen its day.
Actually, you know a pick that's pretty good in Renekton?
Oh yeah? Is it a Viking?
It's Olaf, yeah.
Oh wow.
I wonder if Zeus plays it.
Well, we'll have to find out. Who got the POG last game? Kumiyushi. Oh, I guess the Olaf wasn't very good. So I guess maybe we don't need to worry about that one in the end. What do you think? That might be the way. I don't know whether they're going to be locking it right here, but I think this is exactly what you should be doing. And KT overlooking the center situation, I think, is possibly going to come back and bite them here in game number 2, unless they show us some way of dealing with it. Unless Owner is going to pick something else, he is just going to hover a few things. There's already a jungler locked away. I
will say there is a Vi available for KT in this situation if they want to pair up the Renekton and the Vi and play some more aggressive dive. One of the weaknesses of Senna is that she is still squishy. You can kill her, but if she doesn't die, the value in this fight we just saw is massive.
Renekton Nidalee.
No, I don't rate it. I don't rate it in this situation. Lilia can keep up with the clear speed, your poke is irrelevant into center. They kind of just go in for the Sejuani Renekton again. And I'm going to be honest, out of what KT brought in the last draft, this was the least inspiring components.
Yeah.
Sejuani. Not necessarily in the draft phase, but with how the game played out, they felt kind of non-factors.
I don't know whether that was the part that you'd want to run back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they think, you know, we just take Faker off Azir and we're fine, but I don't think Faker's Azir, you know, was a good stable pick for him, but it didn't really offer that much in terms of how the game played out. So, a bit interesting. KT's approach to this one, they have just gone for the same top side as before. Now, T1, a lot of picks that you could prioritize here. The Neela, the Olaf might get banned if they go away here, but they're looking at the Yasuo, and this is technically a flex.
Very cool.
God, okay. I think particularly with the Renekton Sejuani, you know, it's a good lane into Renekton. We saw Zeus do well in it, but also the Sejuani.
4-letter O name. Maybe Ornn was a misclick.
Oh, could be it. And obviously Senna Ornn is a really popular combo with the old Senna, but with the changes to Senna, I really think that, you know, Senna plus tank, like you're not the same carry Senna. It's not as valuable in that situation.
Whoa, that's an Aatrox. That is even more healing.
This is the favorite spring pick for Zeus. He was just consistently picking up this Aatrox in a lot of situations and really getting a ton of value out of it. Not seeing it as much recently. It is more towards the Bruiser Aatrox than the Lethality Aatrox, so more durability in fights. KT just running it back.
I kind of want KT just to play Ziggs.
I really...
Oh, okay. Cool, thanks.
You wish... You wish for it, and they'll just deliver immediately. I will say, I think the MF Seraphine, horrible into the Yasuo. And this is something I've been looking for, by the way, since I saw the Senna changes. Would be something like a Wukong. They're going to go for the Lee Sin instead.
Whoa.
But I think pairing the Senna with Bruisers, really powerful, you know?
Oh, wait. Hang on. Where are things going? Because I remember when a certain bottom lane played Senna Lee Sin.
I think it's
and
Senna
it
Lee
was
bot.
sick.
I think it's going to be Senna Lee bot, Lilia jungle, Aatrox top.
I mean, Lilia has to be in the jungle, right? Aatrox probably has to be top lane. This is likely where it's going to be.
This is what I think. And I think Parent, because the thing is, you're not the same damage center, but if you have a bruiser like Lee who has threat, in those early skirmishes, the healing just means he's so hard to deal with, he's got so much fighting power. And the thing is, Ziggs smolder, phenomenal amounts of damage late game. But,
well, which aren't necessarily usual. Let's jump into the Rift for game number 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of apprehension, I'm going to say, going into game number 2. Because I think one thing I value the most in a best of 5 is adaptation and forcing your opponent to do something different the next time around. And I think forcing T1 to do something not Senna would have been a really great idea.
yeah. And, oh no, Def.
Oh dear. Deft already going to get queued here by Carrier, as Beryl doing his very best to try and keep him safe, and is going to be able to do so. Tornado going to connect, though, and now BDD is coming in. Another Q going to land here from Carrier, looking for first blood, and he's going to boop him back, but the flash forward's going to be there. That's going to be first blood, going over to Lee Sin, but Carrier might pay for it. Deft is now in an awkward position. He's going to flash. BDD gets a kill, but so does Faker. Pyoshik's going to turn up. One after the other, they head towards the enemy jungle. That flash was sick from Pyoshik, and now Ona might find himself in a rough position, but it's 2-2, guys. Let's back off. Never mind. Gumayushi is now going to find BDD, also face-checking a brush, as BDD is just going to walk it off. He's like, no, we're finished here. And Guma is going to say, no, we're not, as Beryl is back. And he's Hex flashing, and he's going to crash onto Gumayushi, who's now found himself a little bit too far forward. Does get the Piercing Darkness, though, and Ona spinning around a whole bunch, then takes a bunch of damage back. Over to you, Orcs. This is ridiculous.
Just about what I anticipate from a KTT1.
Ona is going to now set up towards this Ziggs, but Faker's in trouble. Great interruption on the crash down to the Ignite. Still comes in. BDD chasing him down, flapping over. Another Q would do it, but he doesn't overextend. I think if BDD had taken another step forward, he was just dead.
Yeah, very danger close there. Got to respect the threat of T1, who will move up to cover Faker. And he will survive on that one.
And it's only 5.5 minutes. As Faker is going in with 300 health, and he's just dead. BDD going to be able to grab that kill as Beryl and Pyoshik right there ready to challenge.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit more faith in the center than maybe was warranted.
she is pretty powerful.
She does quite a bit, but now has that
is he also going to do the thing that you like doing as well, which is just not building an Archangels ever?
You know, I honestly think of all the games, this could actually be an okay Archangels one.
Oh no!
Heresy, but there's a lot of dive threats. You might appreciate the shield. A lot of games you don't need it. This one maybe I think Zeus would appreciate a shield right now, and that's why Guma's here.
Well, Beryl and Pyoshik are also here, mounted and ready to go. Beryl riding his pants, Pyoshik riding Bristle. Pretty good for the Smolder, up into a melee champion. Even though the wind wall can be annoying, I feel like you will be able to get a fair few stacks in this game. Yep,
definitely, and faster stacking, faster spikes. We do now see finally the Renekton Sejuani pairing, looking to punish Zeus.
Oh, there's the flash forward from Perfect! Zeus is going to get tagged, and the Winter's Wrath will be enough. The dive was beautiful there from KT.
Just the immediate flash done. Stacks the passive, gets the damage. Oh, BDD.
Yep. Flapping around in circles here is BDD right now as the Shattering Strike does come in. Faker is going to ignore it, basically. And that is going to be Dragon secured by T1.
The power of the Olaf in game 1 was amplified so much by the center. If the Aatrox is behind, you know, yes, you have other options to game, but he really benefited from having this winning top laner in that one for the center to sustain up with. And now you don't have that. Perfect moving around. He is so strong in these early grub fights.
Yep, teleport is going to come in here as Perfect getting in. There is the crash down from Beryl. Mega Inferno Bomb right on top of Ona as the grubs are being taken down in the meantime. Carrier dashing into the backline. Perfect surviving for for so long, but will eventually be taken down, and the damage is kind of missing here from KT, but these health bars going lower when the bouncing bombs do land. Gumayushi taking a lot of damage, but he is gonna still get the ult off. The Dawning Shadow layered across. Def is gonna sacrifice himself to get the kill under the center, but the team fight is won pretty wholeheartedly here by T1.
Such a scrappy fight, but T1, that's where their composition flourishes. KT try and go for the big engage, but we don't see the value coming out, and yeah.
So it's something that they have practiced, even if it did only recently, only come out like a few years ago. This is something that they've always sort of had in their back pocket. As Owner is going to be starting off this Drake once again. Exactly the same dragons as we had in game one. Quizzical, you could say. Wow. See whether it's another Hextech Soul. I imagine this one's going to be a Chemtech just to give us some of that balance. But if it's a Chemtech Soul and there's a center on the Rift, do not let that be a thing, as it's going to be an Ocean, and that sounds like it's even worse.
Yeah, I don't think we had enough healing.
Yeah.
You know, needed a bit more. That's really going to make things difficult for massively change it if they're just healing absurd amounts. So definitely something they don't want to give over to T1. You see them leaning towards the Herald now. T1 a bit slower on the maps. This might just be given over to KT.
Yeah, it looks like they are just going to be able to leverage their little bit of tempo that they were able to build up for themselves. Hextech Minefield goes down there from Def just to stop Gumayushi from being able to get in. As the snare is going to land onto Perfect. He could still be a target here. Does hold on to the slice in order to get away from Carrier, as there is the Rift Herald picked up by KT. Now they're looking for an escape. Bowling Ball connects. Zeus just going to head towards the mid lane, shove this one out, see whether T1 can catch them on the rotation. Looks like it's just going to be a blue buff steal. And there that goes. Only going to need quite a few items before that is really a thing. Hasn't been able to get around the map and take plates as well, as we saw. As you can see, all of these turrets looking pretty healthy on T1's side as well. We do get the Rift Herald charging in. T1 here for the defense. Not going to be a turret taken, just going to be a bit of damage here for KT. And I think slow and steady is what wins the race here. It's not really a roller coaster thing. Just slightly avoided. I think that might have been the snout of Bristle that did sort of smell that ball as it was flowing by. As this dragon has now been started. And KT, will they actually commit to any sort of play? Carrier going to get spotted out as the tower is going to be taken. And KT just giving this one up, saying instead, we're just going to try and take your stuff. And with a Ziggs, it kind of makes some sense. Satchel can go down, doesn't even need it. And KT get 2 turrets in trade for a single Ocean Drake.
And they might even
wait, two turrets, I said. I said 2 turrets. By Jove. Never mind, that's 3. That is going to be Faker now trying to trade it back for an outer turret towards the bottom side of the map, but I don't know whether that one's going to be worth it as KT slink into the enemy jungle. I think that was a pretty good trade.
It was a phenomenal read by KT. They knew they had the pushing power, they knew they had the prior mid, and they're like, look, we can walk into the trap T1 has set for us.
Oh my goodness, perfect.
But the main thing is, it's an Ocean Soul, right? And even though the sustain is going to be useful, they already have a ton of sustain. It's not Hextech Soul, completely different ballpark. And so as a result, KT, you're like, you know, so what if we give them an extra dragon? They don't have the soul yet. And the end result is they get so much...
Or in the first team fight. But if the game is ever stabilized, like we're seeing KT attempt to do now, yeah, the inroads are just not looking too good, as now Carrier might be in trouble. Oh my goodness, and she does so much damage? What the heck? As alright, Beryl is going to be pulled back there by the Infernal Chains. Mom goes down, doesn't do a massive amount. Yeah, this Carrier will be able to heal himself back up again as Mega Inferno Bomb almost just straight up kills Gumayushi.
This is one of the problems with being a level 8 center in a game where, you know, BDD and Depth are level 13.
They're going to be looking for, and we'll see whether they can actually line it up, because they still, like, if they're not hard committing, it's still going to be a loss in a lot of these scenarios. As you can see, Zeus looking for these flank angles. And Carrier on the other side for the pincer is going to get caught out here by Perfect, who does dash his way out. A long way away from any sort of turret right now. You can see Carrier also now moving away. Beryl looking for that flank as Zeus gets on top of his ward once again. The snare going to get picked up by Beryl here as Ona moves over. It's going to be a 50-50, but it's taken by the Smolder somehow. Carrier steps on 2 balloons and gets down to half health.
Yep, and KT's super happy with that. They denied the soul, and they just bought more time. You know, the concern about the Elder, the flip that it could end up meaning a game lose even with a Smolder on your team, they don't have to worry about that for another 5 minutes. So good moves there from KT. Good secure. Oh, TP flank coming in. This is from Carrier.
Yeah, this is very aggressive, but Gumiushi's just going to get dove on top of Def, takes him down with a Mega Inferno Bomb, and Carrier now just not able to find those angles, because without the center, what is this comp actually capable of? As now it's perfect teleporting in. Zeus going to get thrown around like a ragdoll. These executes starting to fly in as he looks to be a hero, but he's burnt to death by BDD. The kick, it's going to connect, and Carrier takes down his ex-teammate, but at what cost? As Faker is at full health, he puts up the wind wall, but 1 versus 4, I just don't think it's going to be enough. The last breath comes down, but it is exactly that. He'll take Pyoshik with him, but KT win the fight.
And it just felt like T1, you know, they goes on.
I mean, the thing that I'm worried about is that KT are going to feel like they're rushed when they're absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because they sometimes just do that. Because like you say, I mean, they have all of the time in the universe in this game. I mean, they're praying for a 70-minuter, as they're not going to get one, as that is going to be a kick out onto Beryl. Mum comes down. Owner is going to absorb a lot of buttons by just pressing Zhonya as he puts the Crocodile to sleep. Is now perfect. He could be in trouble, but it's another crash down. Def takes down Owner, and BDD is untouched in this backline. Faker goes in, but the Dragon is mauling them. Def satchels his way out. That's the Crocodile locking down a kill, and now it's BDD flapping forward, and he can feel the wind in his wings, and Zeus is just gonna go down. It's a triple kill for the little Dragon. He is legendary. And I don't even think he needs his mom anymore.
He's just untouchable, you know? It felt like the whole fight, BDD was the only person on KT who's never really threatened. He finally sees a window to go in, and he decimates T1. He is more than online at this point. He is taking over the game, and now they might end, actually. It's a Ziggs.
Yeah, Owner is up in 4 seconds' time, but like you were saying, there are satchels aplenty here for this Ziggs, as Deft has already gone to work on that first turret. The Nexus is all but dead as it is exposed. The Mega Inferno Bomb just for good measure, and KT even out the series.
And you know, T1 perhaps took too much. The composition,
it'll just be the Nasus.
Then I think T1 just locked the Azir.
Yeah.
I think when Azir is strong, Faker will just do this. We've seen this in the past like year and a half happen a lot, where it's like, okay, well, Azir's open, we'll just stick him on it. Consistently high priority. So now, over the side of KT,
I think why don't you just lock Smolder center and just say your move?
They haven't really been leaning towards the center. They've been going this for Nexus and Sedge consistently, but there is the threat of that Olaf. But to be fair, last time the Olaf was picked in second rotation, they will let it through the second rotation. My question for T1 is, how heavily do you prioritize the Lilia, or do you just take center Olaf right now?
Yeah.
The Olaf did great in the top lane matchup against the Renekton. If you leave it to second rotation, it's going to ban 100%. The Aatrox didn't fit the bill. If you're going to make the center thing work, I think Olaf center here would be good. But they want to prioritize the Lilia for Owner, and they will lean on that instead. So the question is, do they still go for the center, knowing that the Olaf is off the cards? The answer is probably, but we'll have to see what they can come up with as a solution to the lack of that.
So Lilia is going to be locked in, and then, I mean, if we're just following game one to the letter, it is just going to be center locked in, and then we move over to a Smolder pick, and I think that that's actually kind of likely to happen. I think if you drop the center, you're in a little bit of trouble, but instead it's going to be the Olaf, and that will be locked in just to make sure that Zeus can once again get that matchup towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, because
Veigar?
He was doing well in the top matchups. They want to secure that. I don't like the Veigar, because I think
just go Seraphine, or is it just MF?
I think you leave support counter picks from one port.
Well, I wasn't thinking for support, because Deft has done it already, and it is another long-range mage that they could play on the bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could in theory, but again, into the Olaf, the CC is limiting.
That's a very good point.
So I think the MF, pretty good. We've obviously seen the value of the ult if you can get people to stay on it. The question is, what they're going to play support. They'll see what T1 pick up, though. We're going to see Jhin from Guma. No, it's the Varus last second. So we've seen the Varus rise up a bit in priority. Not too much great success, but the on-hit Varus did get some buffs a couple of patches ago that really allowed him to find his way in the meta. And the question is, what does Carrier play in this situation? I think a lot of supports would just pick an engaged support. That would be the standard for probably 90% of our roster in the LCK, is you just pick like whoever you want out of like Rel or Alistair or Leona.
I think you just pick Rel, right?
And I think he's probably just going to pick the Rel.
And now Beryl will pick Alistair, and because that is the theoretical counter, because she presses her button and then you press headbutt. But we did see that this was a catastrophic failure yesterday.
Yep.
B&K, they were like, haha, we will outthink you by picking the Alistair. You cannot pick Rel. And then they picked Rel and they won. Because Rel's really good. So that is what KT are going to do. This is a different story, right? Duro, very new support here in the LCK, playing for B&K yesterday. This is Beryl, who was probably one of our best Alistairs in a really long time, in 2019, which was a really long time ago. And he has a lot of practice on this champion. Can certainly set up for a lot of these big team fights to allow BDD and Def to do as much damage as they would like. A lot of physical damage here on the side of KT, but when you have true damage, it doesn't really matter. Yeah,
and Smolder also does quite a lot of
mix. To jump onto the rift. Whoever wins here is going to be going to match point. See who it's going to be. All right, I feel like KT are getting less and less hinged as far as the fan chants are concerned.
As they should be.
Yep, I think it's only going to get louder from here.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. One thing is that if Zeus has a good top lane, well, he's done well in this matchup in game 1. If he has a good time top lane, you have the double threat of Ona Faker. And really, I think, you know, if Def doesn't get a good ult, you're really reliant on BDD to carry these fights. So, you know, T1, once again, playing a composition with more threats, but I feel like the Ziggs was more of a backup threat in game 2 than Deft can be in this one. So maybe a bit of concerns about that. Just depending, obviously, how things play out. I wonder if we see KT try to make something happen in the top lane before we get Zeus with ult, but he's actually not going to go top yet. There's a swap coming through. I wonder if he gets to spot it out. He does have a ward covering, so he should get information here. Olaf not going to play lane. Level 1 feels really bad.
Yeah, and they are trying to hide it for as long as possible. As you can see here, Zeus just getting sliced on, and Deft is standing on a real lead to be picked up from either side. We've seen in our first couple of games that the action sort of starts relatively early, especially in game number 2, as that is going to be Pioshik locking it down. No piercing arrow to steal that one there. Gumushi just getting his eye in.
One thing to say, if they act now, it's an MF. She can get here pretty quickly as far as champions go.
Yep.
With a strut. But it's also Zeus without TP, so actually, sorry, it's a 4v4 still, and KT feeling confident on that. It's perfect level 6.
Yep, BDD also had control of the mid-wave, so able to get here first. Oh, the steal! That was pretty sexy. T1, I think, can possibly even just move away from this, but you can see Carrier looking aggressive. That's a flash out from Beryl. Mum does a lot of damage to T1. But it is going to be just these 2 grubs that are going to be taken away. Another one, Gumushi perhaps? No, not going to happen this time. As, yeah, Perf just going to walk up and stun the Varus.
That's a crocodile.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. He does have Dominus up and available, Gumushi, without the Chains of Corruption just yet. What a Chain CC. Of course, Perfect will be able to just press Dominus and try to weather the storm, but this is... Yeah, this is real dangerous. I see what he did there. The ultimate has been precast, but there it is. I just don't know what he's going to be able to do here. He goes and has a nap, and that is going to be first blood. Going over to Ona. And meanwhile, underneath the turret here, Ragnarok has been popped, and Pioshik has to flash. Deft, not quite able to grab it quickly enough, but still going to be able to lock down the kill. So both top laners are being treated to some top lane action. And it is just going to be relatively even. T1, though, do come out ahead by picking up first blood and a bit of extra added on farm and things like that.
It must be Charles being a top laner.
Oh, yeah.
Play, honestly. It's just so unfair. Obviously, both teams trading here. BDD will get that cannon.
Oh, that was very close. You see,
you know,
there is some killing some camps to take down. The Ragnarok, like you were talking about, still up and available. Let's see whether this can work in a 3v2, as there is the Ragnarok coming down. Bowling ball avoided As Beryl is just dead. That's the watch out eat from Ona, as he is going to get pushed back there momentarily. And that dive just straight up didn't work.
Yeah, Beryl was pretty low HP before he ulted, so it just wasn't enough to keep him healthy. And also, Olaf has some true damage in the kit, so...
Now also, Deft is going to get some spare time with this this outer in the bottom lane, but with these grubs up and available, T1 with a much better position around it. And I think KT just going to have to be happy taking some plates for themselves, although Deft is going to be backing away.
Yeah, so his thing is that Zeus isn't on the map right now, but he could be heading topside. Like, KT don't know, so they have to kind of respect the fact that they don't have information on how many members are going to be there. I also think with Ona being so strong, it's a bit of a cautious one. So they're just going to give up the grubs completely and look instead towards the dragon. There's an ocean dragon, first of all.
Does mean that that's not going to be the soul, which is good news.
Yep, and also the ocean dragon is an early dragon. It's pretty nice to sustain. It is 12 minutes, though, a bit after laning phase. But T1, no hesitation. You take dragon, okay, we're going to take this top lane, tier 1, and get some first tower gold.
Well, Deft, he can make it rain. That makes things a little bit annoying there for Ona to be able to catch up. And that is going to be that dragon taken down. But I think the trade here, not exactly fantastic for KT. As you can see, we're ballooning to above 2,000 gold, the lead for T1 with not only first blood, but with now first brick on top of it. And these incremental leads that T1 have been able to put together for themselves have been pretty impressive considering the early game state.
So it just feels like they're really not interested in contesting some of these early objectives.
Yeah.
And giving a lot of space to T1, not wanting to face them head on, which can make sense when you have that smolder. You're like, let's just let him scale, but they are starting to fall more and more behind. And this Herald could mean a mid-tier 1 for T1, which would be huge.
Well, they are just going to take it. Let's see where they do put it down. Might actually just be plonked into the mid lane immediately, as he was in prior. As BDD wants to grab this cannon, will be able to do so. Won't be able to stop the charge, but also Shelly's not really going to be able to get more than just a bit
up. And we see actually Pioshik and Beryl moving up towards the top side of the map, so perhaps that might just be the game plan.
Yeah.
Just trade the dragons and one apiece, not really too much concern either way, whatever the soul is.
Still going to be Faker taking a bottom out of turret as well, so that stacked onto everything is only going to continue to build T1's lead. Pioshik in this Herald pit.
Side lane of pressure from the Azir, and Olaf doing a pretty good job, and Zeus has TP ready, he's out of vision if they want to move, and I think KT just giving this one up.
Yeah, looks like this one's not going to be something that they can actually fight for. We'll have a look at what soul it is going to be. Mountain Soul to come in.
Good one.
Yep, either team going to be pretty happy about that.
And now looking to try and apply some pressure towards that mid-tier 1. Deft could just ult the wave, so I don't think they're going to commit too hard.
Yeah, besides allowing Zeus to run amok or allowing Deft to find that big ulti as Flash has to come out here as the Dominus has been popped. Perfect. Going down so incredibly low. Teleports coming in from everyone as Ona kind of creep blocked, and that is going to be somehow BDD picking up that kill. As a result, I think it kind of works out for KT in a weird way. Especially after also getting the flash.
I think they're pretty happy. They get a shutdown as well from Ona. You see T1 trying to go for an aggressive play there. Punish the Renekton in the side lane. Gets slowed, gets creep blocked, and now
Faker is just dead. Okay, BDD gonna flap away from the wall, and you can see that little grin on BDD's face. Feeling pretty good as a 2-0 Smolder once again started up the Dragon. He's not a member of the Dragon Preservation Society.
Or maybe he left, you know?
Oh yeah, maybe he had to leave because otherwise they were never going to be able to get the objective. Speaking of objectives, T1, they're just going to run over towards this Baron, and the Dragon will be taken, but can there be any responses? Beryl just dives in there. All right, maybe that's the response. It's perfect, just pokes his head in, and then hops out again immediately, and KT have stopped the Baron.
Yeah, they started to take some damage, and I think they were really conscious of the freshly level 16 BDD pressing R on them in the pit, and just one-shotting them.
He's going to call his mom, and it's one of those call your mom when his mom's really scary.
Yeah.
You know, have you had those friends before? And he's just like, no, I'll tell my mom on you. And you're like, no, please don't.
Yeah. When you come over to their house, and, you know, you'll be doing something, and like a glass will smash or something, and immediately everyone...
all the blood drains out of your face. Yeah. It's like, please tell me that's not one of the good ones. Oh, dear.
You know what? If the mum's that angry, it doesn't even matter if it's one of the good ones.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. You just have to be extremely careful. Speaking about being careful, KT carefully trying to assess whether this Baron is going to be taken down. That is going to be some vision given over. BDD going to be the one to answer the Olaf, as this farming is looking very satisfying, unless you're a T1 fan. As Pioshik, this is good news for T1 fans. Pioshik a little bit too far forward. Owner running very, very quickly. The bowling ball not quite going to connect, but Pioshik going to be sent packing here for now. I believe does have his Warmogs completed, so we'll be able to get that health back relatively soon.
Oh, not quite, actually. So.
Oh, doesn't actually have it built up. Man, been sitting on those components for a while.
So they will get vision with the Make It Rain. Beryl actually has no wards and isn't able to recall.
All right, he's going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. This one eats some honey fruit. Shattering Strike does not land, but Ona will be able to put him to sleep. Throws down the ulti, but had no health to back it up, and is still just able to walk it off. Never mind.
Yeah, he just lives, I guess.
Those hooves were made for walking. As now Pioshik looking for a bit of an angle. T1, I think they found it though, as Chains of Corruption going to have to be flashed. But that's not even the main thing. They have so much control around this Baron area, as Beryl running back, hoofing it as fast as he can.
Okay, but Death can get vision with Make It Rain. That's all they have right now. They're just going to have to go for it.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and find an angle. Here's the Magnet Storm looking to try and keep them out of the pit. And Pioshik still gets in, but it's not going to be good enough. Look at this AoE damage, is gigantic. But T1 are still just going to be able to get out of there with the purple buff in hand. Everything has just gone into BDD, and it's understandable. He's now got 4 items, and they're all really good items.
You know, this feels like an aiming smolder game.
Oh, it really does. I feel like we watched this yesterday. And aiming won a few of those games. So we can see that building up the smolder is certainly something that does work. But now it's T1's forte. This is where they get to utilize their control of the map. And you can see able to take down inner turret in the top lane. And it looks like Zeus will be able to protect this siege minion as well, getting to work in this mid lane. 4 grubs paying off as well.
Yeah, this is big, especially against a smolder. Baron pushes can be tricky just because you can shred the wave so effectively. The team, everyone else is kind of just supporting cast.
And it's like, there's been 7 kills this game. Somehow, there's a 6,000 gold lead. As T1, they've started up the Dragon. Vision now given over to KT. As teleport to come in. Let's see what can happen here as the Dragon does fly by, but it's just a little bit of damage onto Ona. They get the edge. Pioshik, they do manage to avoid the Chains of Corruption largely, but in goes Ona, he goes golden. Can they find the sleeps they're looking for? The flash out from BDD, but he's still gonna get taken down. And this is like what you were talking about, Orcs. Unfortunately, sometimes the little dragon just goes pop, and T1, they are just crushing KT with their wallets now. It's a little bit anticlimactic, but that is the way T1 are going to do it as they look to try and bring us to the next game with match point in hand. That's going to be the clean ace. And T1, I think, just marching up the mid lane.
BDD, he's got a QSS in his inventory, just bought it now, but it's too late. Ends up getting CC'd, ends up going down, and that Smolder, who felt like such a threat, goes down with a whimper. T1, the incremental advantage is apparently we're enough to win them this game.
They're going to make a little bit more proactive play there on the side of KT. I was praising them for their patience, but sometimes it's too much, and that was a little bit too much. T1, well-deserved win here, and they will move to Matt. And now we get very sad as we see... Oh,
that's
my
not
goodness! They pivoted!
That's not Renekton. They didn't do the BNK Fear X, where you just do the same thing.
Just keep doing it until you lose the series.
Yeah, they've adjusted, and now T1 are like, well, I guess we have to pick the Renekton.
Oh my goodness, this is such an incredible mind game. You just play it over and over again, convince them that you think it's good, and then they pick it, and then you can win the series? Is that how it goes, Ox?
Potentially, you know, maybe that's the strat.
No, they pick away the Smolder instead, okay.
Still scale champions, but not as much scalesing. Whoa, isn't this good? This is crazy, actually. KT didn't first pick Renekton, and they might get it anyway, which just shows you that you didn't need a first picker this whole time.
I think that might actually just be the case, as Owner is thinking about opting into exactly the same thing. That's Diana. Don't know about that one being a lock-in, but it could be the option, and never mind. I do get excited about Diana. I just think that she's a very fun champion, but it's going to be Sejuani. Same jungle matchup, different players.
4 games into the series, you're like, we could have just not first picked Renekton, and we would get it anyway. Are they going to pick it anyway? That's the question. If you had this much priority on it the whole time, there's no way. Like, yes, it hasn't been working, so you might want to move to something else, but
I think Rengar does make the most sense. Just start red pot, go top lane. That's what I would do.
They got Renekton anyway. Smolder's gone though. They're just going to lock in the Corki. BDD been pretty solid in this. Did get some slight nerfs in this patch to his Q, mana cost and cooldown, but it's not huge. 1 second across every level on the cooldown, and to deny it. Alistar's still there as an engaged support. They're probably going to take 80 carry in this pick. Does reveal the flex.
Goodness.
You know what? I'm going to say it. You know what's still open?
Yeah, there's a Caitlyn Lux angle, isn't there?
Not even just Lux. If they really want to go 480 carries, Senna is still available.
Oh god, it is too.
The maximum 80 carries in a draft. We'll see. We'll see what KT end up taking in this situation. I feel like Ez Karma wouldn't be terrible. He would lack engage. That's one concern.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think Alistar is enough. You know, if you want to try and deal with like a Vayne and a Smolder, there's a lot of true damage.
I think Leona is still kind of okay, right?
Leona's banned.
Oh, right. Leona's banned.
So, kind of struggling with the champions left in the pool. And also, if you take, like, an Alistar here, you're just going to face, like, Kate Lux and get blasted. So they feel, like, forced to take Ezreal Karma into whatever T want to take. It'd be so funny if it was Senna. It'd be so funny.
That would just be way too many 80 carries. Surely it would be.
I think Kate Lux...
it's Lux instead.
It makes more sense, and it's the better duo, but it would have been so
It is still
funny.
0 permafrost.
Yeah.
Like, just nothing.
Just nothing. You know what?
That is so... But also, it is great into Lilia.
It's kind of like...
she kind of wants everyone to be low range and, like, meatballs, and then you just get to spin around and stuff. Now everyone's going to be everywhere and shooting you from really far away. It's going to be really frustrating.
It's kind of T1 in a nutshell, though, that they have like a winning bot matchup. Well, actually, to be honest, you know, the Ezreal Karma could do pretty well in the Kate Lux. Top matchup is cooked, though. Have fun, perfect. And Fake with a Smolder just to scale up. But
to round 2, KT will have to head to the World's Gauntlet. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the 4th game, and possibly KT's last of the playoffs. If they don't manage to pick up a win here, I do think that the draft is somewhat experimental here on the side of T1.
I will say one of the weaknesses for KT's draft, they don't really have good engage, having gotten the Karma. One of the things that we saw last game was that Smolder died when he got engaged on.
Aha.
And KT don't have set engage. They obviously have this, you know, we've talked a lot on the LCK about the walk strategy. What about the run strategy, where Karma just speeds everyone up and they just charge at you? That is a valid one.
We did used to say that Sivir was an engaged champion, because you just press on the hunt, like the donkey whistle, and send him in.
Yeah, that might be the strategy here. Just Beryl speeds everyone up.
So basically what you're saying is Beryl is Aragorn?
Pretty much. But also, one of the things is there's a lot of poke on the side of KT. Like, the carrier can't use T1 Lux because he didn't get it.
Yeah, he did not. Taking some cues here all over the place. Light Binding does go wide as there is the Arcane Shift forward. We bring up the win rate as they take so much damage. Oh, the flash forward from Beryl. And that will get the flash out from Gumayushi. He has no summoner spells left remaining, only Deft's flash.
Relief
will come up and she'll help me.
Do you think when you get into a game like this, KT just mute top? Do you think, like, Fairfax like, hey, it's a great time. You can probably gank now. I think the Vayne's overstepping a bit. And they just literally just moved him out the call. He's in his own call by himself.
He's just actually, it's going to be a nice little catch on to Deft, who does take that delayed punch of damage.
Yeah, even though KT have kind of had, for the majority of the time, the pressure
in these playoffs if they don't win this game. As Kyoshik has started off this dragon, Carrier is standing on a ward right now as he does move himself in. Remember, it's kind of an awkward composition to start off fights with, but Owner is certainly the one. That is the flash over there from Kyoshik, just try and put Owner to sleep as the final spark does come in. Owner can just walk on forward, but the dragon has been taken down. Mom gets mad. Connects onto Beryl and BDD, but they are already out of there.
But no, this Vayne's going to be a problem. And again, they don't have great lockdown. Like, Renekton getting to a Vayne and stunning could be really hard in the later stages. Lilia getting the sleep to proc, really difficult. There's no other CC in the composition, so... might be a big struggle in the late game in general.
Ooh, there's a final spark to come on through. That is still going to be Pyosik picking up that grub. Might just be all of these going on over as T1 not looking to commit to this grub fight. So 4-2 going to be the advantage here on KT's side. The first good news story that there is, unless Owner will just come in and steal it away, but it's not going to be the case. As Faker here towards the bottom side, just grabbing a plate smorgasbord and looking to try and push T1 ahead. Beryl is rotating down though, and we do have BDD in position. Okay, Sneeze does connect onto 2. It's a lot of stacks. That's not too bad, but the flash forward from Beryl to try and get that snare locked in. Mom comes on through, but the slow is still going to be there. Valkyrie forward, and that is going to be first blood going to BDD on his Corki.
Able to find a kill. Faker overstepping a bit. Take note of the fact that Beryl went Slay, right? He's fully investing in the movement speed.
Love that.
He wants to go fast.
And next Drake is a Chemtech. We could have a Cloud Soul as well. Could you imagine? Yeah. Think of a champion better at activating Cloud Soul than Karma.
That's true.
You press a lot of R.
I love how there's now 3 people in Tifx lane.
Yeah, Zeus and Faker are going to be able to easily take down this turret. That is going to be first turret blood going over their way, further extending that gold advantage as KT looking to try and answer here towards the top side. It's BDD that's getting the majority of that money, but the problem is the KT now having to deal with an inner turret just being focused. Rift Herald is going to be employed alongside BDD. But if it gets another charge, they might be able to answer this.
Yeah, I think if they trade even, it's pretty okay, all things considered.
With 4 grubs, this should actually be very doable,
with how
especially
low
with no one there, yeah.
I think KT are probably okay with how this has panned out. Also the gold on good members as well, BDD and Yoshi getting definitely nice one to pick up.
Definitely a shout out to you there, Orcs, for paying attention throughout this entire series.
I'm dialed in.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's good to see. And now we're just praying
for
a Cloud Soul for all that extra movement speed, and it's an Ocean's Head.
This is honestly, Ocean's okay for T1. There's a lot of poke on KT that they can obviously mitigate, but it's a pretty lame dragon here. A lot of squishy
not the
people
most exciting.
who aren't going to get a huge value from the healing.
Inventory the entire game. Maybe that's because then you can't buy them. Okay, perfect. Just wants to clear out the wave. Does stun up Zeus as he comes in. True Shot Barrage clears out the wave, but Perfect is so dead. That is going to be a kill going over to Zeus there. His Kraken Slayer already completed.
I would legitimately message Riot and ask them to delete Renekton from my account. Like, it's... Yeah. This is painful. This is horrible. This is just... At T1, you know, the lane matchup was already going good. They've really piled it on and just making this champion feel so useless.
And I think this is where, like, all of Perfect's older brothers are saying, like, buddy, it's okay, we'll carry you, it's all right. And I think that they're going to keep saying that until he is...
You know what this is?
Absolutely no gold, and he's just giving that one up. We have spoken about giving things up and being like, that's okay, but then, like, afterwards, KT just kind of lost the game in one
masters of giving up.
Yeah, this is the problem, is that eventually you do need to get control back. And giving things up does not quite help you there.
Yeah, giving up Nexus, not a good play.
Yeah.
Giving up Singular Dragon, that's okay.
It's okay. Perfect's here to defend the turret. Perfect may not be here for much longer. It's okay, there's the dash forward from Pyosik. Does find a sleep onto 1, but it's not exactly high priority there as Gumiushi did just get so far away. Mum comes down, the minion waves are all just obliterated. So it's not going to result in too much.
They can't get onto them, and they're just not doing enough damage. T1 just kind of stand there and fire skill shots at you until you lose. It's kind of the vibe at the moment. They are going to lose this mid-tier 1.
It is definitely going to go down. Yeah. Sneeze not going to quite work, but it does not matter. Gets them away from it. And so T1 got what they came for.
There's a lot of squishy members on T1.
Beryl is now probably big dead.
He's very dead.
Big time.
Yeah, I was going to say
dead.
There's a lot of squishy members on T1, so maybe you can pick someone. But Beryl's also squishy and now dead. And now Baron is gone. And the question is, will Pyosik be there in the next 5 seconds?
Well, True Shot Barrage did do a fair bit of damage. Now T1 possibly in a little bit of trouble. Pyosik, can you get the steal? The answer is no. Ona locks that one down, but Gumiushi already dead at the beginning of this one. Pyosik down very, very low as Faker just explodes. Deft trying to get the extra autos in. He finally helps BDD take him out as now Ona, he'll be taken off the board as well.
Oh, the TP back in?
Yep, looking for the angle here. BDD just I mean, it's one tumble auto attack, and this Corki is just dead. And Zeus, with that Night Hunter, is very, very scary on the chase down. Him and Keria both with the Baron still up and available, though, and I think T1 is still pretty happy with how this one went.
You know, they managed to get a trade up in the end of it, but not the cleanest Baron. Definitely didn't really have an exit plan for that one. And now KT can pick up this Dragon. So not really going to get the value you'd maybe hoped out of securing Baron, but you didn't all die, I think is the takeaway on this one.
There you go.
BDD pretty strong now, though. Picked up a lot of those kills. Keria, you are very squishy.
Yeah, he also had to stand still to put out that final spark, which meant that BDD was able to get on over there. So that is going to be a turret going down in the mid lane as well. True Shot Barrage was searching for Keria there. Zeus getting to work here on this top lane, and I'm getting Worlds flashbacks, man. Just watching Zeus take games into his own hands. His Vayne is so incredibly good. Despite the fact that they did not quite find the team fight they were looking for, it is still looking dangerous.
Yeah, it's unfortunate BDD didn't kill Keria before, because he's one of the 2 Barons remaining.
Yeah.
Oh, TP flank.
All right, it's time for Perfect to shine, ladies and gentlemen. He sidesteps the life binding. That's a great start as Keria going to be taken out first. Pyosik going to steal the kill away from a well-deserving Perfect who just needed something in this game, for goodness sake. T1 now just trying to get out of there. They've lost their support this time around, and KT looking to push further forward. True Shot Barrage to stop them from rotating around, and it is another turret to be taken here for KT. Still a lot of poke damage back. Gumayushi going down relatively low, though. Still T1, they get rid of the minion wave. They are going to be able to force KT back now, as they can't push further forward. Sorry for getting emotional there, but I think the Perfect deserved it.
He really did. He really did.
He wins this game, and they're like, ah, yes. The blind
the
connect, and that's going to wait. Yes, Sleep is going to come on through. True Shot Barrage is going to connect as Zeus gets himself out of there, but he's now extraordinarily low. Another flash as Keria gets himself out of there, and T1 kind of on the ropes.
I mean, you could just fish with the bowling balls, and basically anyone but Owner it hits is an immediate threat when it comes to this Sleep potential. Now they're going to start onto the Baron, but T1 are there responding. Owner's healing up with the Warmogs.
Yeah.
Kind of low on mana.
Banana Brush control. BDD kind of out of the fight right now, though, as there is the engage from Owner. Perfect, just dashing his way out, doesn't have the dominance. Oh my god! Okay, that's a Trinity Force proc. If ever I've seen one there from BDD.
Oh, they can just start the Baron, though, if you back up Perfect.
Yeah, he's in trouble, but isn't going to get snared. And T1, they have all of the traps down. The bowling ball is going to be avoided this time as BDD Valkyries his way in. Somehow Pyosik's little hooves do not connect onto the traps. Beryl not going to be so lucky. Baron down to 6,000. These rockets still coming in. True Shot Barrage doing a fair bit of work. It's a flash in from Pyosik, and he steals away the Baron. He might just die, though, and there he goes. Zeus now thinks that it's his time, as KT just trying to vacate the area. Perfect trying to be bouncer now to keep his team alive. Beryl, can you press Mantra and Inspire? That's the question, as Faker trying to flap his way out. Oh, they're just bombing. Oh my god, the damage. And Gumayushi going to be able to take down the Crocodile once again. Ace in the hole is going to lock down Beryl. And Def, the last Baron standing. And T1, they're looking to break open the base.
I just feel to end the series here. 20 seconds of Pyosik. He has ult. Beryl doesn't have ult. Sorry, Def doesn't have ult. He needs to try and clear the wave. I don't think he's going to have a chance.
Needs to land a few more of these Qs. Try and bring that one down as much as possible. I mean, it's taking a while because the Baron buff is going to be there. True Shot Barrage now just aimed at the minions. Nexus turret number 1 is going to be taken down, though. They're trying to tank this one up as best they can. As Owner going down exceptionally low. There is the kill under the Sejuani, and Pyosik is back up, but they're just killing the Nexus. They're just going to round 2, and KT, they're not out of the race for playoffs yet, but they're out of the race for Worlds yet, but they are out of playoffs. And they're going to have to face off against P&K and run all the way up the gauntlet if they want to go to Worlds. T1, they will move.